review. There we go. It took the thing a second to start recording. So I wanted to record Pokemon Duel, do my first review of a game here, and I know it's kind of weird to do a mobile game first, but I think this game has a lot more to offer. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't review it. It wouldn't be worth the time. So for anyone who has been interested in the game but hasn't kind of jumped in yet because they don't think they're gonna like it or they don't really know what it's about, hopefully this might change your mind a little bit because I feel like the game is worth looking at. I really do. So this is a digitized version of a figurine game that had come out some years ago. And apparently it's a pretty faithful recreation of that game. So what I'll do is I'm going to run through a quick, an example game against the AI. And then we'll kind of dive into the mechanics of the game a little bit more and explore like what merits this game has overall. So the initial objective of the game is to win. You get one of your figures into your opponent's goal, okay? And once you do that, you win the game, or if they get one of their figures into your goal, you lose. And as you can see here, there are some towers. So the game has a story mode. I haven't really figured out too much of like what the details are, but there are different towers, and each tower you defeat gives you an emblem, and the emblem acts as like the badges of the game. So it's got that going for it. So we'll go to the rookie tower here, the Ulix tower, and I'll run the easiest mission. So before we actually start the mission, I will go over a little bit here. So each mission has 2 rewards that you can earn when you beat it. You can either get coins or you can get a figure, and it does a little wheel spin at the end. You can see the stars that are beside it. Those are challenges that each mission has. And whenever you complete one of these objectives here, you earn 1 gem per goal. So you can make 3 gems each mission. And the gems are like the premium currency of the game. Coins you use for upgrading and things like that. But we'll get into those in a little bit. So we'll just do a quick tutorial battle. So I'm going to go against a bunch of Tyrogues and Bidoofs. Bidoofs are pain in the ass. But yeah, so we'll go and we'll start this up here. So the game is going to automatically decide who's going to go first and who's going to go second. The drawback to going first is that your Pokemon's movement on your team will be reduced by 1 for that first turn. It's to prevent you from getting like really big stuff out really fast. Kind of limits some options, but it allows you to kind of pick which route you want to block off first. So the computer gets to go first. All of his Pokemon can only move 2 squares, so he can only move them out 1 on his turn. So the Pokeballs on the corners there, those 4 Pokeballs, those are your spawn points. You have 2 on your team, 2 on your opponent's team. That's where you're going to spawn from. You get to choose which area you're coming from. So I'm going to send out Glaceon first. Glaceon can move 3 squares. Or circles, whatever you want to call them, 3 spaces. So he knows that I'm coming up to him right away, so he had to move over a little bit. And I'm going to try to call his bluff and hope I can get an instant win here, or a pretty quick win. I'm not going to attack him, because you could choose to attack after you move beside somebody. It's usually more beneficial to have them attack on their turn. So if you win, then you can just move in. I got a status attack, so I'm going to freeze him. And I'll get more on how the combat tree works in a bit. So I won that battle, and bam, I won. So remember, this is AI level 1, so they're not particularly good, but that's just a gist of how the game works. You're going to want to block off different routes, try to call your opponent's bluffs, things like that. The game has a lot more to it than that. You earn a little bit of experience, but experience is mostly earned through fusion, which again I'll get on in a minute. I already unlocked those challenges, so that's not a big deal. So here's the wheel that I was talking about. You'll spin it. And I got coins. I don't really need a Tyrogue, but I like him for fusion, so it's like whatever. But coins are fine. So that's just a base example of gameplay. And like I know that doesn't really sell it for anyone who's looking for in-depth stuff, but the AI does get really good. And when you go into league matches, when you're playing against other players' teams, I'm not sure if it's real time or not, but I'm thinking it might be. But that's where you're going to get some crazy interactions. So we'll go look at characters next, at your figures. So you can have, different decks. You can have up to 3. This was like one of my first ones. I don't really run it much anymore. This is my current team. So you make a team of 6 figures, and you have plates. Plates are like one-time use buffs throughout the battle, and they stay with you, but you can only use them once a game. They have different rarities. They are worth different values. but we'll start with figures first. So we'll look at Charmander first. So we'll go over the few things that you need to know about your character here. So below the figure, you'll see on the lower left that circle that says UC. That's its rarity. He's an uncommon. The blue circle is how many movement it has in a turn. So Charmander can move 3. And then right beside that, you'll have the wheel, and it shows the ratio of your attacks and what its overall dial looks like. And then, of course, you can see the evolutions below that. To the right of it, you'll see, of course, the name, its ID number, the level 1 in the blue bar. That is the figure's actual level. That's when it gains experience. If you fuse figures into it, it'll increase its overall experience. Once it levels up, you get benefits for that. The CL level below that is something I actually had to look up because the game doesn't really explain it to you. The CL level is a different type of leveling system where you need to increase that, you need to use either the green ingots that you get from booster packs, or you need to fuse duplicate figures of the same type into it. So I need more Charmanders to increase that, and I need 9 points in that before that level will go up. And I'll explain what exactly those benefits are in a minute. And of course, you can see the evolutionary line below that. And now, down here where I'm kind of wiggling it, that you'll see what the actual wheel is for your figure. So it has a 24% chance of landing on Flametail for 40 damage. Average attack, not too bad for a base figure. Then it has a 28% chance to land on Smokescreen, which is its special attack. It gives it opponent the weight status, where if it basically makes it so they can't do anything for one turn. So if they got weight, then that figure just kind of sits there and does nothing. 32% chance to get Scratch for 10. Really, really weak attacks. Probably always going to get beat out by your opponent's moves. And then Miss. 12% chance for Miss. If you land on Miss, you're pretty much going to lose the match unless your opponent also lands on a Miss. So overall, this figure is not terrible, but it's a little risky if you land on Scratch or Miss. Flametail's fine. Smokescreen's fine. Then the other type of colors that you'll see on the dial are gold attacks. Like on Raikou here, you have an 80 attack, 26% chance to land on that, and a 16% chance to land on dodge, which is blue. So what the hell do these colors mean? When you're in battle, battle is decided by the spin of the wheel, right? If you land on... basically, the highest power attack is going to win. Under most circumstances. So if you both land on white attacks, you compare the value, highest value wins. If a gold attack and a white attack land against each other, highest value, that's how that determines basic attacks. Blue pretty much trumps everything. It's a dodge, right? So even, for instance, Squirtle, he has almost a 50% chance to land on Withdraw, which is a giant-sized dodge, basically. He has a very big chance to land on that, but the offset for him is he has to wait. He gets wait 1. He can't do anything on his next turn for doing so. Makes him a really good goal blocker. Your opponent has to try to fight through him to get to your goal. So blue will defeat everything. If you land on blue, you're good. Gold attacks will beat purple attacks, those specials, which is really important to know. If your opponent is running a lot of those status effect moves and things like that, you'll want some gold attacks to trump them. And purple attacks will beat out white attacks, guaranteed every single time. And if you both land on purple, that is determined, the winner is determined by the amount of stars your purple move has. So you can see here, both the Bulbasaurs are only 1-star purples. So if I was going against like another Bulbasaur and we both landed on our purple moves, it would just be a draw. Nothing would happen to either Pokemon. But if that Bulbasaur was going against my Corellia has a 2-star purple move. So my purple move would win. I would get my effect off, my opponent wouldn't. And likewise, if my Corellia was going against my Xatu, and we both got our purple move, Xatu has a 3-star purple move. So his will trump Corellia's every time. So it's really important to kind of keep that in mind. The stars just basically mean a priority over other moves of the same type. So I mentioned earlier that the game has depth, especially when it comes to team building. Team building, I think, is the greatest part of this game. One team I was running for a while was actually a water-based team. I didn't have enough figures to make the most of it, but Manaphy here, for example, shows how you can have really good synergy outside of just running really powerful figures. Manaphy itself isn't super strong, but it's really useful. It has an ability, unlike other figures, not every figure has these, where if Manaphy is on the field, then all of your water types gain a +20 to their damage. It's really good, including itself. So it's Bubble Attack, which it has a 50%, a little over 50% to land on. That deals 40 as long as Manaphy is on the field. It's not shitty. Then if you get its Purple Attack, which is where the real synergy starts to flow in, then you can choose another water type. No, so Manaphy can win against, white attacks and other purple attacks for the most part. So if your opponent's attacking it, you can actually get a lot of benefit while keeping Manaphy alive. It allows the other Pokemon, another water type that's not asleep, to move their movement value, and then they gain weight 1. I've actually been able to win on my opponent's turn because of that, where they attack Manaphy, but I was able to move, like my Greninja, who can move 3, I was able to move that up into their goal because he was close enough. Really, really interesting stuff. That's why Xatu is one of my favorites. Xatu can teleport if it lands on its move. I'll bring that back up. Here we go. And Xatu gets to move 2 squares away. So if your opponent attacks it and you get teleport, then you just get to move behind it and then move away on your turn. And if they keep hounding him, then it just gets to keep teleporting away, potentially. So I've had people do that where they've just attacked me when I was 2 squares away from their goal and teleported right on it. Really interesting stuff. Like, you can just... Tricky movement is what this whole team is based around. So yeah, I mean, that's the bare essentials of how combat works, and you'll kind of pick up the differences as you go along. Status effects are a thing in this game, and I'm actually going to go into the help menu, because it does have a help menu. Like I said, just not everything is completely described here. So we'll help, and let's see, statuses. So there are a bunch of special conditions, just like in the game, as you can see. Poison is interesting. It doesn't deal damage to your opponent, but it reduces their attack by 20. Or their damage by 20. So that's a decent debuffer. Most poison moves are also purple, so you can kind of prioritize your opponent, keep your Pokemon safe while crippling them on the following turn. It might mean your poison Pokemon might actually knock them out when they wouldn't have had a chance before. Noxious is basically toxic of the game, badly poisoned. Reduces it by 40. Paralysis. It's a Pokemon that's paralyzed, forces the attack with the smallest piece to miss. Different attacks with the same name count their total combined pieces. If multiple attacks are tied for fewest pieces, the affected attack is selected at random. So paralysis can be kind of a pain. I haven't had it happen all that much. Confusion is a whore. When you spin on the wheel, it's going to go to the very next result. So if you landed on an attack, it could make you land on a miss, or on a dodge, or something like that. Vice versa, if you landed on a miss, it might actually get you an attack. So confusion can be really annoying. A Pokemon who's asleep cannot take actions. Sleep condition does not prevent moving using movement points, and the sleep condition can be removed by touching the sleeping Pokemon. So what you do is, like it says here, if you move an ally adjacent to your sleeping Pokemon, you can tap on them as if you were making an attack against a friendly Pokemon, and it snaps them out of their sleep. So you can do that. Frozen is the same thing. Frozen, they'll get stuck in place. They can't move. They don't even get to attack. They'll just count as having a miss every single time. You can switch them out to unfreeze them if you have an ability to do so, or if they fail to actually knock you out for some reason, if they got a miss or if they got a dodge on their own, then you would unthaw. So there's that. Burn is probably one of the worst effects in the game. So your attack with the fewest pieces will always miss, same as the paralysis. So it acts as paralysis and 10 damage per turn. I think that actually is supposed to mean that they lose 10 attack. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. There's some translation errors here. And then, of course, the weight of status is they cannot take any actions. So some abilities will make you wait 1 turn. Some abilities will make you wait multiple turns. So just kind of be aware for those. So status effects are still in the game, and they're not a joke. Definitely something you should kind of keep an eye out for. Let's go back here. I need to keep the camera angled on myself. I'm not used to this. So how do you get figures, right? So other than doing the missions and stuff and getting a potential wheel spin to get figures, you get booster packs. So you have gems up in the upper right there, which they kind of give out liberally, especially when the game first started. They were giving away 100 plus gems a day. Anytime they do extended maintenance, they usually give you some gems too, and you get them for login bonuses every now and again. So you can go into the shop here, go to the boosters. So I have an exchange ticket that I got from the game, which gives you a free booster. It gives me a free single booster. I think if you have more tickets at a time, you can exchange them in for bigger boosters. So as you can see here, a single booster would normally cost you 50 gems. A double for 2 figures would cost 100. The 4 booster, these are the best value for your gems rather. So whether you're getting them for free or you're actually spending cash to get these gems, you almost always want to go with the 4 figures because there's no discount to it, but you get 4 figures and you're guaranteed, as it shows there, a rare or an EX figure. They had a 6-figure booster for 300 just a little while ago, and that was guaranteeing you an EX in every box, or in every pack. And I was usually getting multiple rares in each one too. So I even pulled a double EX at one point. I think I got like a Charizard and a Greninja or something like that in the same box. So look out for those special boosters that if they ever come out with them, they're worth picking up. So, and you can also get plates, which are those strategy things. Oh, I should probably talk about those in a minute too. And you'll also get materials and ingots and stuff like that. So there's different resources that you need. So we'll talk about materials that I mentioned there before that you'll get from boosters. So you can see right below my gems, there's that little blue number. It says 1600. That's my material count. And you can use those in the shop here. So as you're opening boosters, even if you might not get what you want, you'll get materials. And you can exchange the materials for figures as well. The more expensive the figure, the more materials they cost. So EXs and things like that will cost 4,000. Most commons are 250, etc. So you're always getting ways to like get figures that you are looking for, which is really nice. You're like rares at 1,800, EXs 4,000, etc., etc. And there's quite a few figures in the game. And I think they plan on, of course, adding more as time goes on, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, the game has a lot to offer in terms of the collectability aspect, if you're like me who likes to just collect stuff, regardless of whether or not it's digital. So we'll go back here a second. So how else can you get figures? Well, if you see on the bottom there, I have 4 boxes, or 3 boxes rather, that are sitting there. You can only activate one of them at a time, the countdown timers. How I got these was playing league matches, which is the big gold play button. League matches are basically against people, and if you win them, then you can get lock boxes, which, like I said, take time to unlock, but it's figures. Each lock box has different rarity lock-ins. So like if you go into the gold one, it guarantees you 1 figure of uncommon or higher. You'll also get 1 other random figure of any rarity. You'll get an ingot and a cube or rare metals. So you're guaranteed that. And then it tells you here what EXs you can pull from it, what rares you can pull from it, uncommons, commons. So you have a general idea of what you're looking at. The rainbow box is the more, it's like the best box I think that you can earn. And this one guarantees you a rare or higher, 2 other figures of any rarity, could be complete random rarity, an ingot, cube, or rare material, and of course all the figures that you can earn from it. So actually what I'll do now is, since I'm going to spend some gems to open this early, otherwise I'm going to have to wait another hour and a half, show you an opening here, because it's kind of fun. Here we go. So there we go. So the first thing I pull, I got an Onyx. Not bad. Got an R-Box, so there's another uncommon. And I got an Emolga. That's cool. There's an ingot and rare metals. So cool. Not too bad. Yeah, I don't mind that. And probably what I'll do is I'll start the countdown on this one. And then another way you can get a box, you're not even done there. There's still ways to get more boxes. As you see right beside Corellia there's the locked booster square up there. And it shows some keys, and it shows I have 0 out of 10. When you play league matches, if you win, you get 3 key fragments. If you lose, you get 1 key fragment. Once you have 10 fragments, it'll give you a random booster box, which you can unlock immediately. And then there's a cooldown timer that goes on after that, on how long you have to wait before you can start getting more key fragments. But you can open quite a few boxes. The game is just throwing them at you. You just have to wait for them. So, of course, it's got that mobile aspect where you have to just kind of wait, 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 and wait. But it's not a terrible thing. I mean, that's just kind of the give and take with mobile games. And I actually kind of want to use my booster pack there, my single exchange, just to see how lucky I am. Now that I got that booster itch fever. I think it's an uncommon. Just by the color of the light. Oh, I got a Glaceon. Fuck yeah. Okay. I've actually been looking for a second one. And I got some materials. So I got 50 material, and I got a rare. So that was really cool. And I don't have any more of those tickets, so I'm not gonna go back into that. So there. So now we'll go on to plates. I wanted to talk about plates, and I kind of got distracted. So plates are another strategy element that you have in this game. So you go into edit your plates when you're editing your team, and they have a bunch of different effects. Normally stuff you'd see from the games, like they represent items of different kinds, and some are just completely unique. So we'll look at Pokemon Switch. So if you've ever played the card game, there was a card called Switch, which let you swap out an active Pokemon with a benched Pokemon. So that's what this really lets you do. It allows you to swap a Pokemon that's on the field with one in the bench, or you can just swap places with two Pokemon you have already in the field. You cannot select two Pokemon from the bench, obviously. And it only takes up one spot on your plate tray. Your plate tray has 6 slots. The more powerful the card, then the more spots they take. The other one I have up here is Quick Care. Choose one of your Pokemon in the field. If there's a space in your Pokemon Center, which is where your 2 Pokemon will go if they're knocked out, you can swap them out. It ends your turn, but that's cool too. Focus Band is one of my favorites that I have. Takes up 2 spots. Choose one of your Pokemon on the field or bench. For this turn, it cannot be knocked out. So you can play this on a Pokemon that's in your bench, and you're bringing it out, and then you attack. If you fail, then it would stay alive, obviously. Reminiscent of the games. It's really nice. And of course, there's other stuff. There's status effect healing. There's X attack to give 30 damage to your Pokemon's move for that turn, so you have a better chance of knocking something out. Power Battle's kind of interesting. I think it makes it so this turn, if this Pokemon or your opponent spends a purple attack in battle, anyone who rolls a purple attack has to roll again. So that's kind of interesting too. So yeah, plates you'll sometimes get from booster packs. You can also buy them with gems if you get those, which is in your shop. You can go to the plate shop, and there's a lot of stuff. There's theme stuff. Like the Zap plate makes it so all your electric Pokemon's moves do more for a turn. There's the Spooky plate, which makes all your ghost types do more for a turn. So yeah, like X accuracy, which I believe lets you get to roll again. So yeah, plates will play a key component to your strategy, allow you to cover some of your weaknesses, pull some fast ones on your opponent. So next we'll go into Fusion. Fusion is going to be your primary way of leveling up your figures. Okay, so as you can see, figures are worth so many experience. The more experience you put into them, the more they'll be worth later if you decide to exchange them in. So let's see. So Corphish, I'd put him in here, and then if I wanted to level him up, I could be like, oh, I'm going to put all these figures into him, and that's how much it costs. Like if I wanted to put all these figures in there, it would cost 6,000 coins. But obviously, I'm not going to fuse any of these good things into the Corphish. You'll also, I'm going to go back into that menu. I didn't mean to back out. As you saw, there was rare metals and ingots and things that you get from your boosters. The blue, these blue ones, as you can show, the blue ones are worth experience. So they allow you to boost something up without losing a figure. There's different rarities, like the common is only worth 500. I don't think I have any of the more rare ones, which can give up to like 1,000, 3,000 or more. The gold ones are worth coins, which you go into the shop. Go to your exchange coins, because you can also sell figures that you don't want for coins, which is nice. But I go down here. So the common ingot is worth 1,800 coins, so I can just sell that, which I'm going to do because it's taking up a spot, and I don't want it. There you go. And when I mentioned earlier, when you were fusing, you have that green bar, that CL level. Actually, you know what? I'll get to that in a second because I should mention leveling up. So when you level up a figure, there is benefits to doing so, obviously. Let's see if I can do an example here. So let's say I want to level up. Mogul only needs 100 experience, so we'll just use him. So I will fuse... who do I got that I don't really care about? You know what? I'll just level up Corfish. Okay. So to get his first level, he needs 180 experience. We'll just throw in the Emolga to do so. So I'm going to fuse them. So every time they level up, you get to put a point into one of your attacks. And what this does is it increases the size of that piece of the wheel. So it effectively gives you a better chance of landing on that move. You're allowed to change out your point allotment before your figure reaches level 5, which I believe is the max level for figures at this time. So we'll just say I want to increase Vice Grip's output. So it'll make Vice Grip bigger, and it'll make your miss sections smaller. So it's a win-win on that, so hit OK. So let's confirm. Sure. Now, the other thing is that CO level that we were talking about, or the C level 0. If you level that up, you get another way of upgrading your figure. You effectively get to add 1 point of damage to one of your moves. Now, 1 point of damage is kind of like, okay, that's like really random. Why only 1 point of damage? But by doing that, you ensure that your attack is actually stronger than your opponent's. So moves that would normally end in a stalemate, you can actually win because your move deals 1 more damage than theirs does. And to level these up, he needs 9 points because the more common the figure, the more points they need to actually increase their C level. So he would need 9 other Corfish. I would need 9 others to fuse into him to get that level up. Or if I want to use a lot of these level 1 cubes, if I had 9 of those, I could put them in there. You can only use green cubes that match the rarity of the figure that you're using. So with him, I need the uncommons because he's an uncommon. Commons would need to use the common one. See, I can't use that one on him. I can't use the rare one over here because the rares only work on the rares. And in the case of EXs can only fuse with other EXs to get that point, but they only need 1 point. The more rare they are, the less they take. So since I have a second Charizard, I could fuse him into this one if I wanted to. Not going to do it, though. It's not important enough to me right now. So, like, those are the two ways to level up your Pokemon, okay? There's 2 ways to do it. I feel the base leveling up is more important than the C level right away. But as you get more duplicates that you don't really care about, throw them into a Pokemon and start leveling up that C level. It's something that's going to be kind of a slow process. It's going to be the one that you're going to grind for the most. There's daily missions each day, too. I don't think I ever explained that. It's a way to earn gems. You can earn other items in the game, which are really nice. You get 3 a day that you can accomplish. Once you do 10 of them, you get your special mission. And the special mission has some pretty good rewards on it. You can earn like 75 gems or something. There's like a couple of spots of that. And a lot of gold. I think yesterday I earned like 3.5 grand or something like that in coins. So not the best reward since I have 77 grand anyway. But yeah, I think that's the basics of the game. And like I said, it's a quick run through what the game can do. And like I said, the strategy involved in building your teams and seeing your team actually just accomplish what it's out to do is really, really, really fun. This team here, whoops, I didn't mean to click on that. That's not a big deal. This team here has actually beaten all teams of EXs. It's like a full 6 EX team. Because they're not really running a strategy other than run the strongest things they've got. Which works. I mean, it's like that in most any other game. If you just run the most powerful things you got, it still boils down to how good of a player are you to use those figures the way that they're supposed to be used. What plates do you have to make up for your weaknesses, to complement your strengths. And in this team, it's really good. Like I said, Corellia allows you to swap out with figures and stuff. I'll actually show that again because I don't think I ever did. Which is why I like her so much. Is it going to let me do it? No? Alright, I'll go to the deck. So with Corellia, yeah, If she lands on a purple attack, she gets to swap places with a friendly Pokemon, whether it's one on the field, on the bench, or in the PC. So if I had a Pokemon that was knocked out, I could have her replace it and put that Pokemon directly in the field. Or if I have like my Charizard, who is in the bench or as far in the backfield, Charizard's really fucking scary. So she can just move him up. You know, she'll knock herself out. Or not knock herself out, but just switch places with them. Gets really powerful Pokemon up the field fast that can't move really quick. She's also really good because ghost types usually have Infiltrator, which allows them to move through enemies. She doesn't allow that, so I've noticed a lot of people using like Bandits and stuff like that, a couple of Haunters before, so she can kind of roadblock, which is great. So tricky movement is kind of the theme of my team here. She allows me to get key pieces to places they need to be on the down low. People aren't really expecting it. Xatu just teleports around and gets where it needs to be. Glaceon is a harasser and also my fast mover. She's usually the one that gets to goals because she can freeze stuff and just say, fuck you, I don't care. And, of course, Charizard and Raikou are big hitters. Now, one interesting thing to note is some of your normal attacks, these white attacks, do have alternate effects. Not always, but they do sometimes. Like Charizard has Fire Spin, deals 50 damage, and then it spins the wheel again. And every time you land on Fire Spin, you get 50 more damage. Think of it like the Pokemon card game where you flip a coin until you get tails, and you deal X damage. Some normal moves do have an effect, like Corellia's Super Psy. Only deals 40 damage, kind of like an average move. But if she gets knocked out, then she confuses the opponent. So even when you're losing, you're winning, which is kind of nice. And then she just has a straight up 60 damage, which is, again, not terrible. It's about average. But she's not going to go against a lot of EXs in terms of out-damaging them. You just have to hope that you get Psycho Switch. Or confuse them if she gets knocked out if you get Super Psy. So, my initial impressions on the game, I like it a lot. It's not the best mobile game I've ever played. I mean, there's a lot of waiting still. But they were really, really generous with the gems when the game first came out here in the States, or not just the States, but you know anywhere that wasn't Japan. Like they were giving away 100 coins, 100 gems a day. That's a lot of gems. So you would also get. I was just powering through some of these things, getting gems off of stuff, and I was able to buy before the event was over, like 3 or 4 of those 300 cost 6-packs, and I didn't spend any real world money. I suppose if anyone is interested in that, I'll show that. I feel the prices are a bit gross for buying gems. I don't think it's... You can actually only buy 5,000 gems a month. Or 50,000 gems a month, rather. So there's some cap on the pay-to-win aspect, but not much. So we'll look at the gem counter here. So if you're looking to buy gems for $5, you get 84 gems. You get that 4th booster slot on the front screen. I only have 3 by default, but you'll get that extra box for 30 days. So not particularly good. 12 gems for $1, 57 gems for 3, 120 gems for 7. So if you're looking for like a 2-pack, for the 4-pack, so you need at least 200 gems, you're looking at about $20. So $20 a booster. That's pretty rough. But, I mean, you really shouldn't have to invest too much money into them because you are getting so many booster boxes just by playing the game. I think that's why the price is a little high. I mean, I'm surprised at that. You think they'd make it more attractive to try to get people to spend more money. And then, of course, if you just go down the list, things get a little more crazy from there. But I'm willing to play the waiting game. I mean, I might toss a few bucks at it here and again. Like right here, I'm at 114 gems. You know, if I got a little higher and I was just being impatient to get that extra booster pack, I might toss a couple of bucks at it. But it's not high up on my list of things to do. So I don't feel the pay-to-win aspect is too strong because it's really generous to start. And like I said, booster box is like fucking crazy. So it's just a matter of farming figures, leveling up your figures, and going through the story mode. Because they say in the beginning of the game, you'll see a screen, you can beat the game without ever spending any money. You can beat it with what you get as you play, which I genuinely believe. Because the game seems balanced enough that the EXs, while strong, they're not going to be auto wins for everybody. Because like I said, this team, which only has 2 EXs and 2 rares and 2 uncommons, and they're not even the most powerful EXs or rares, and I've been winning games like crazy. I think I'm in like the 4th or 5th league right now. So, yeah, if I'm going to give the game an arbitrary number score, I'm going to give this game a 7.5. It has room for improvement, especially in the waiting time nonsense, but I feel like it gives you enough rewards over the course of you just playing the game, and rewards your skill as a player to make the right moves and still win, even with quote unquote inferior figures. I mean, you'll still have, if you're playing with just like the basic team they gave you, you're gonna struggle. It's not impossible, but and there's more combat depth than I even touched on. The game will explain, it has a very good tutorial to start where you can knock out Pokemon without even actually battling them if you cut off all their access points with your own allied figures. So if there's something that's really strong, but you're not able to kill it, you can just block it, box it in and kill it that way. So there's a lot of different strategies to this game and a lot of nuance. If you're a Pokemon fan, I highly recommend you at least give it a try, and see what you think, because you really have nothing to lose but if maybe an hour or so of your time, and just delete it if you don't like it. But I'm definitely enjoying the game. This might be one of the very few mobile games I continue to play consistently, because a lot of them don't hold my attention. The AI is either stupidly bullshit, or the AI is terrible and just doesn't do anything. And the fact that I believe this game actually has live player-to-player battles, that makes up for a lot of things. I'm really okay with that. I'd rather not play against a team that's controlled by an AI, even if the AI is pretty decent. So yeah, give the game a look. See what you think. What's the worst that can happen? Thank you for watching. I know my thoughts were a little scattered on this one. I probably should have written a better script for it. But there's a lot to it. I mean, there was a lot for me to wrap my head around, and it's kind of hard to elaborate on it all. But I'll see you guys next time.